Hey guys, it's Sasha with Rice and Raw, and I wanted to talk about my social anxiety and how it really affects my life. And I want to make a video about this because I know there's a lot of people out there who have social anxiety, who are introverted, who are shy. And what I've really found to be comforting is to know that I'm not alone. I'm not the only weirdo in the room who's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, people. like I'm glad that there's someone else out there who's like, oh my God, then maybe we could be like, oh my God, together and just like hang out and talk. Because I feel like in my life, I'm surrounded by confident people who really exude confidence, who walk into the room and like their energy is everywhere. Like, they're there. A lot of conversations revolve around, them, not about them, but not that it's bad, but just about, they'll be in the conversations, they'll be controlling the conversations and running the conversations. And I think those people are great and very interesting. But I am not one of those people. And I feel that a lot of the time I hold myself back from being the best I could be, achieving my potential, because I still have such intense social anxiety. And I never put a word on it until like the other day. And I was talking to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I just don't understand. I'm so socially anxious all the time. And she doesn't, like, my dad was like, I don't believe you get social anxiety because you were talking all the time, like you're really outgoing. And yeah, they're on people that I know and feel comfortable with, who I don't feel will judge me. I'm very much myself. But when it comes to people who may not know me as well, or I'm still trying to make my impression of who I am, I'm so afraid of people getting the wrong impression of me. And I know that's very similar to caring what people think about me, but it's not in the vain way where like that negative connotation is associated with. It is more of, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I don't want anyone to get the wrong impression of me and my good intentions, because I know I have good intentions. I really do love myself. I'm really confident in that. And I'm confident in who I am as a person. But why doesn't that translate? Why do I forget that when it comes to social interactions? And, I understand that, especially in today's society with technology, how it is, the phones and the computers, that's how we communicate. And that's how a lot of people have actually been raised to communicate. And there's so much less face-to-face interactions, especially, as you're growing up. So it can be, really hard to kind of integrate back into like real communication and real interactions with people. And my job is a job where you do need to interact with people a lot of face-to-face communication, tons of different personalities you see, tons. And my personality has always been, I make room for other personalities. I don't know if it's a female woman complex, but I will allow someone to take the floor. I will allow them to completely steamroll me in a conversation, completely out-talk me. Like, I'll be trying to say a sentence and I will be shut down by someone, and I will respectfully continue to listen to them, unlike them. And I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable just because they're making me feel uncomfortable. And that's nice and all, but that doesn't at all make me feel good after the conversation. Because after the conversation, I'm sure we've all had it, where we get into our car, we go into the other room, and we're like, I know exactly what I would have said. I would have said this, this, and this. And I would have been really confident about it too if I knew that was coming. Like I do have confidence, especially from where I came from I used to be so insecure. I would completely avoid any relationship building. I would not try to talk to anyone. I'd stay in my room. So I've come such a long way from that. I do on so many levels feel confident in myself. So why do I let that go when I'm communicating with other people? It's very bizarre. And like, you can even see it on my YouTube. I still get uncomfortable in videos. And guys, like, I know I don't put a lot of videos out, but I make videos and I'm like, no, this isn't worth it. Like, this will just waste their time. No one really wants to see this. No one cares about this. And I know I get feedback from you guys that like, of course we want to see what you're doing. We want any video we'll be happy with. And I really, really appreciate that feedback, but I'll still overthink it. And I think Well, I know that this comes from a specific moment in my life in high school. I used to sit with a table of all guys, and I told this story once. It wasn't a necessarily great story, but it's a story. It wasn't that bad. And this guy sitting across from me goes, "That's it?" Like, well, yeah, that's it. Well, you just wasted all of our time. You know what? In future, don't tell us stories. Just don't talk. And like, I know he's trying to be alpha male and, funny, I guess, but I took that to heart so much that I don't feel that what I have to say is important. And I feel like I'm wasting people's time talking. So that's not good at work, That's not good in any aspect of my life. And like I said, even afterwards, it makes me feel bad. It's like, why didn't I stand up for myself? And that's the big thing recently is I realize I don't stand up for myself. I will let people completely tear me apart, or completely make fun of me, or completely physically push me out of the way. And I will just ask a question. Like, usually my defense is just to ask a question, and then I get steamrolled and I'll let it happen. And just because they're making me feel uncomfortable doesn't mean I need to make them feel uncomfortable. And I don't want to look like the bad person, because another thing in my past, where before I went vegan, I was a very confrontational person. I was very comfortable saying how I felt, and I didn't care if I looked like the bad person or the good person. I just wanted justice. So of course I had certain types of friends, especially this one friend who would always, very calculated kind of person, who would always make it seem like I was the bad person in the situation. And that has really carried me forward. Like, even my mom is like, "Stop being the bad person in these fights. I know that you were right, but you come off like the bad person, because you just speak your mind." And I kind of took all of that and I was like, well, I just shouldn't make anyone uncomfortable. I should not say anything, like, maybe I'll just let them win the argument. It's easier than making them feel bad about themselves. So I just clam up and I let people walk all over me. And of course, I don't have a good feeling afterwards. Afterwards, I'm like, well, fuck. I should have said this. I should have done this. I'm worth it. I have no problems thinking that I should do that. But when it comes to the action itself, actually saying it, actually doing it, like, is it worth upsetting someone else just so I can feel good? And I think that's kind of like where I'm at. But I need to remember that for me to be successful in helping others, for me to be the very best, so I need to be the very best I can be to really effectively help more people. And the better that the more I can improve myself, the more potential that I can help others improve, or inspire others to improve themselves. So I really need to address this problem. It's holding me back in so many levels of my life. I will avoid certain people because I know that they're the type of personality who's going to just, try to steamroll a conversation, and I'll let it happen. I'll try to sometimes speak up. I'll try to start saying a sentence, and I literally will get cut off, and the person will continue. And I need to build up that backbone where it's like, no, just because I speak slower, just because I think a little slower, does not mean my opinion, my thoughts, my feelings don't matter in this. I need to actually say that. But I'm also so afraid of having too much emotion fueled into that and it coming off wrong. So there's a big difference from, excuse me, you just interrupted me, I would like to continue what I was saying, or excuse me, you just interrupted me, what the hell? It's a completely different way of going about it, but it's the same thing. I don't want to be the second one. I want to be more the first one, where I am very secure in myself and I'm going to speak to you in a calm and rational manner. I don't want my emotions to play into it. And I think when something comes up, when I'm completely blindsided, I'm so afraid to let the emotion out, because then I will, that is insecurity. That is, another type of insecurity. So then I fold into another kind of insecurity, and I'm just like, okay, you win. here's your trophy. Oh, let's not talk about this anymore. You know, yeah. So my biggest problem is I don't stand up for myself. My biggest problem is that I'm afraid to be the bad guy. I'm so deadly terrified of being wrong. I really hate being wrong. Like the other day when my sister graduated, I got upset because my dad didn't order enough food, although we gave him all of our orders, and I just couldn't comprehend why that happened. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, we don't have enough food. And my sister, she got so upset that I was so angry about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have not been wrong in so long. It was the first time I was wrong in a while. So I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt so uncomfortable. I just wanted to like just dissipate. And like, I made someone cry. Like, I don't typically do that. And, you know, obviously I said sorry. I really did apologize. My dad was like, yeah, it's cool. Like, my dad doesn't take things personally. A lot like me in that sense. But, you know, to see my sister cry like that, like, shit, like, I couldn't even handle it. Like, I had to, like, I'm crying now just thinking about, like, I don't like being wrong like that. I don't want to upset anyone. So I'm wondering, is this a good trait? Or is it a bad trait? And I think it's both. I think it's a good trait to like not want to upset anyone, to not, you know, hurt anyone, and not overassert myself, you know, just for my glory. But at the same time, I think it really holds me back from being myself. And like I said, it's not about what people think of me in the vain way. It's what people see me as. And I want that to be portrayed. Because, you know, it could be so easily changed and altered, especially like online. People can, you know, watch this video and be like, she's so insecure, she shouldn't have followers, that, you know, she's like ruining these people's lives, or I don't know, like, I really want to be honest with you guys. And that's, you know, I'm making this video because I know there are people out there, especially a lot of my followers, who are shy and introverted. And just know that, like, you can still have a YouTube and be shy and introverted, and you can have, you know, a corporate job, you know, you can have all these things and still have complete social anxiety. And I want to overcome it. I really do. And I thought that by having confidence in myself that would overcome it. But I think there's more to it. There's more incidences from my past that I'm really holding on to and like projecting into my life. I just don't understand how I can be so confident in certain situations, like absolutely 100% confident, but in a majority of the other situations, you can absolutely walk all over me and I will let you. So why do I do that? It's even if someone gets in my way physically, I will say, oh, sorry, and look down and like, you know, oh, sorry. You know, like, why would I do that? That makes no logical sense. I've been trying much more recently to be like, oh, excuse me. But I'll still have those moments where, you know, if I don't have that 2 seconds to think about it and correct myself, I'll say, oh, sorry. Because they're in my way. Why do I do that? It's bad. And another example is like the other day I was at Mohegan Sun and I felt beautiful. I was so happy. I was having a great time, and I was at the craps tables with Joe and he was playing. I was watching. It was pretty empty at this point, so there's plenty of space at the table. And this girl, you know, like, yeah, she's probably in college, probably pretty drunk. And, you know, I've had my fair share of drunk college girls, you know, kind of push me out of the way because they're drunk. They don't realize where they are, and that's fine. You know, I've been through that. But this girl was like really pushing me, like get out of my way, like really pushing me. Like I was just trying to stand my ground, and there's no way I could stand my ground without pushing her back at that point. So of course, I move, I back off completely. I say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you playing? I can definitely move out of the way for you." Nothing. Completely ignores me. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess you're not gonna talk to me or answer my question." And it wasn't even like mean. It was like, "I guess you're not going to do this." And then of course Joe has to stand up for me, which he has been doing. He's like, "I guess people don't have manners." And then she talked to him, and the whole time she wouldn't respond to me. She would talk to him like, I'm like, "You are aware that you were pushing me out of the way," and she just wouldn't talk to me. The only person she would talk to is Joe. It's very weird, and I don't know why I wasn't like, "Hey, excuse me, are you all right? You all right? Like, are you okay? You're where you're pushing me. Are you okay? Do you need help?" Like, because obviously she was very drunk. So it's like, she wasn't very drunk. She was tipsy, but like, why couldn't I stand up for myself? Why did I have to rely on my boyfriend to stand up for me? Like, that's not a good thing. And so, eventually, she moved away because I was like, "You know what? No, I'm not going to move for her." Like, I've moved for so many girls in my life that think that they should just step in front of me, that they should just cut me in line. I'm not going to do that anymore because I am grown up and I'm not dictated by these weird social, things in college, this weird hierarchy of girl status in college. I'm not there anymore. I'm staying here. And, eventually she did move. It's very, very unnerving to know that I couldn't stand up for myself. Even to, someone who I didn't care at all what they thought of me either. Like, I just didn't want to be rude. So as you guys can see, it's obviously something that really eats away at me. It's something that does negatively affect my life. Really is debilitating. And if you guys have any suggestions, and not like the generic ones where it's like, just forget what people think about you, it's fine. It's really not just on that simple level. Like, maybe I should, like, I don't know, maybe I should see someone, like, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me going to see a therapist. Like, there's such a negative connotation with that, but like, maybe I should, or maybe I should really put myself out there and try to do more presenting things. And like, oh gosh, I don't know. Any suggestions would be really, really greatly appreciated. And like I said, like, I hope just knowing that other people experience this, that brings you comfort as well if you are also someone who has social anxiety. It doesn't mean that your whole life has to stop, and it doesn't mean that you can't get over it either. And everyone struggles with something. Everyone has their story, and this is just something that I do struggle with still. And even though I thought that I didn't struggle with confidence and this kind of stuff, I definitely do. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I hope you're having a happy and healthy day, and I'll see you later. Bye.